The unpredictable nature of existence often reminds us that the line between profound joy and sudden, devastating tragedy is incredibly thin. In a world driven by fast-paced achievements and the constant pursuit of creative expression, we rarely pause to consider how fragile everything truly is. The global community frequently finds itself united not just by the celebratory milestones of culture and art, but by the shared heavy silence that falls when a vibrant, irreplaceable light is unexpectedly extinguished. It is in these quiet, shocking moments that the true impact of a person's life becomes visible, echoing far beyond the stages they stood on or the art they left behind. When a sudden event shakes the foundation of the creative world, it sends ripples through millions of lives, forcing friends, family, and distant admirers to confront a reality that seems entirely impossible to accept. The suddenness of such a loss leaves an empty space that words can alignment difficultly fill, and the initial hours following a major tragedy are always marked by a deep, collective sense of disbelief. As details slowly begin to surface, the public is left trying to piece together how a journey filled with so much future potential could come to such an abrupt and heartbreaking end. Before we dive deeper into the unfolding details of this heavy narrative and honor the memories of those involved, please take a brief moment to support our channel by subscribing, which helps us continue bringing you these important stories with the care and depth they truly deserve. Artistic souls have a unique way of touching the world, often leaving an imprint that feels deeply personal to people who never even met them in person. They capture the essence of human emotion, the highs of adventure, and the vulnerabilities of the human condition, making their sudden absence feel like a loss in everyone's personal circle. When a catastrophic event occurs in a remote part of the world, it underscores the interconnectedness of our modern global society, where a tragedy thousands of miles away can instantly shatter hearts across multiple continents. The initial reports of such incidents are usually chaotic, filled with confusion and fragments of information that gradually paint a picture of immense sorrow. In the aftermath of sudden disasters, the focus naturally shifts to those who were left behind to carry the heavy burden of grief, the individuals who shared the private, quiet moments away from the public eye. These partners, friends, and close collaborators are forced to navigate their immense personal trauma while the rest of the world watches, looking for answers and trying to understand the magnitude of what has occurred. The contrast between the public persona of a celebrated figure and the intimate reality of their personal relationships becomes starkly apparent during these times of mourning. Behind every public figure who captures the imagination of the world, there is a private sanctuary of relationships that ground them and provide the foundation for their creativity. These private bonds are often kept carefully guarded, away from the relentless scrutiny of the media and the public, creating a sacred space where individuals can simply be themselves. When tragedy strikes, this veil of privacy is inevitably challenged, as the public's desire for connection and understanding collides with the deeply personal need for quiet reflection and mourning. The early stages of grieving a sudden loss are filled with an overwhelming wave of memories, where every shared journey, every inside joke, and every quiet promise takes on a profound, heavy significance. It is a time when the survivors look back at the path they walked together, marveling at the sheer volume of life they managed to experience in a seemingly short amount of time. They recall the shared dreams, the moments of intense inspiration, and even the regular everyday arguments that define the true reality of a deeply committed partnership. The world of contemporary music and digital culture is uniquely volatile, characterized by rapid rises to fame and an intense, direct connection between creators and their audiences. This environment breeds a special kind of loyalty, where fans feel a profound sense of ownership and intimacy with the artists they follow. Consequently, when an unexpected disaster cuts a major journey short, the grief is magnified exponentially across digital platforms, creating a virtual monument of shared sorrow. People from all walks of life come together to express their shock, sharing archival footage, favorite tracks, and personal anecdotes of how the artist's work influenced their own lives. This collective mourning process serves as a powerful testament to the capacity of art to bridge gaps and unite humanity, even if that unity is born from a place of profound sadness. Yet amidst this massive global outpouring of emotion, the central focus always returns to the core of the tragedy, to the specific, undeniable reality of a life cut short in its prime. As we begin to look closer at the specific events that have recently captured the world's attention, the atmosphere remains thick with a sense of unfinished business and unanswered questions. The narrative is not just about a single moment of impact, but about the web of lives that were permanently altered in an instant. It is about the families who received the devastating news in the middle of a normal day, the friends who had just spoken to their loved ones hours before, and the global audience that woke up to a reality they were entirely unprepared for. The setting of this particular event, a beautiful and vibrant region known for its energy and culture, makes the underlying grim reality even more difficult to process. The juxtaposition of a landscape filled with life and the sudden occurrence of a fatal disaster creates a haunting backdrop for a story that is still developing. In the coming segments, we will explore the profound statements of love and grief that have begun to emerge, the narrow escapes that highlight the terrifying randomness of fate, and the beautiful tributes from peers that show just how deeply this loss is being felt across the entire industry. The devastating reality of the situation came to a sharp focus in the skies over Brazil, where a routine journey turned into an unimaginable catastrophe that claimed the lives of 6 individuals, including the widely celebrated and boundary-pushing 32-year-old music artist Oliver Tree. The sudden mid-air collision of 2 helicopters sent shockwaves traveling across the globe, instantly transforming a regular Sunday into a historic day of profound mourning for the music industry and millions of fans worldwide. In an instant, the creative energy of multiple visionary minds was permanently silenced, leaving behind a chaotic scene of wreckage and an immediate, overwhelming wave of grief. Among the victims whose lives were so abruptly cut short alongside Oliver Tree were talented producer Lucas Vignali, rising YouTube personality Gatsby, dedicated collaborator and producer Lucas Froda, as well as the 2 experienced pilots navigating the aircraft, Alexander Souza and Charles Marziak. The sheer scale of the disaster quickly captured the attention of international media outlets. As investigators began the grim task of sifting through the debris to understand how such a horrific aerial accident could occur in modern aviation, as the news of the tragedy broke, the focus quickly shifted to those closest to the artist, particularly his girlfriend, fashion stylist Fiona Chernavskaya, who eventually broke her silence to share the immense weight of her personal loss with the public. Navigating a grief of this magnitude under the glaring light of global scrutiny is a task few can comprehend, yet she chose to honor her late partner by opening a window into the extraordinary life they built together away from the cameras. Through a deeply moving tribute, she revealed the staggering depth of their shared journey, noting that the inseparable pair had traveled to 43 different countries and explored all 7 continents together during their time as partners. Her words painted a picture of a relationship defined by constant adventure, mutual inspiration, and an undeniable magic that brought immense joy not only to her life but to everyone who crossed Oliver's path. She recalled the intimate, private moments that defined their bond, even sharing a heartbreaking detail from their past disagreements where Oliver would reassuringly tell her that if things did not somehow work out in this specific lifetime, he would actively search for her and find her in the very next one. This tender, agonizing memory culminated in her final raw expression of love, addressing him by his affectionate nickname as she wrote those painful words of farewell stating that she loved him, her buggy. However, the process of mourning such a high-profile figure rarely happens in complete peace, and Fiona was quickly forced to confront the darker, more intrusive sides of internet culture and public obsession. In a separate, fiercely direct statement shared through her social media channels, the grieving fashion stylist found herself forced to fiercely slam a rising tide of online gossip and unverified rumors that began circulating in the immediate wake of Oliver's death. Over a beautiful, touching photograph of a smiling Oliver Tree, she pleaded with the public to show a basic level of human respect for her privacy during what was easily the most painful chapter of her life. She explicitly clarified that they had always intentionally kept their romantic relationship incredibly intimate and private, far removed from the constant demands of the entertainment industry. With admirable candor and strength, she addressed specific malicious rumors regarding Oliver's alleged involvement with other women, firmly stating for the record that they were strictly monogamous and completely devoted to one another. For Fiona, the noise of internet commentary was an unwelcome distraction from the only thing that truly mattered, which was honoring the memory of her partner and best friend. She made it entirely clear that everything else floating around the digital landscape was completely unimportant, demanding that onlookers show respect for the profound tragedy that had occurred, despite the frustration caused by invasive speculation. The overwhelming wave of genuine love and empathy from the global community provided a vital source of comfort during these dark days. Fiona took a moment to warmly thank the millions of fans who had reached out to send kind words and expressions of sympathy, acknowledging that her initial memorial post had already received well over 1 million likes and a continuous stream of supportive messages. She expressed a deep, heartfelt appreciation for every single ounce of support she received during this unimaginable time, showing remarkable grace by reminding her audience that so many other families were currently hurting. She selflessly urged the public to extend that same profound love and support to all the other individuals and families who had been deeply affected by this massive tragedy, acknowledging the shared collective trauma of the disaster. The ripple effects of the crash extended far and wide, touching various corners of the music and entertainment worlds as the true scale of the loss became increasingly clear to everyone involved. The artistic community quickly rallied to show solidarity, with major figures in the industry using their massive public platforms to pay respect to a fallen peer who had changed the landscape of modern alternative music. Among the most notable tributes came from global superstar Post Malone, a close friend and admirer of Oliver's work, who refused to let the tragic news pass without a significant public acknowledgement. During his heavily anticipated Tuesday night concert in Toronto, Canada, the 30-year-old singer-songwriter took an emotional, dedicated moment during his performance to completely dedicate the entire show to the memory of the late artist. According to reports from media outlet TMZ, Post Malone, born Austin Post, paused the high-energy concert to speak directly to the thousands of fans in attendance about Oliver's incredible musical legacy and his uniquely generous heart. He emphasized to the massive crowd just how deeply loved Oliver was by his peers and his audience, highlighting the genuine kindness that existed beneath his eccentric public persona. In a deeply traditional gesture of respect and mourning within the music community, Malone also poured out a beer on stage in memory of the Life Goes On creator, providing a somber, unforgettable moment of reflection for everyone inside the venue. As the industry continued to reel from the shock, more chilling details began to surface regarding the events leading up to the fatal helicopter flight, revealing just how terrifyingly narrow the line between life and death truly is. It was revealed that music producer Victor Wow had narrowly escaped dying in the very same helicopter crash through what can only be described as a last-minute stroke of fate. Wow had been originally scheduled to board the flight alongside his close friends and frequent creative collaborators, but he made a sudden decision not to fly due to a profound lifelong fear of flying an aircraft. Understanding his intense anxiety, his thoughtful colleague Lucas Vignale stepped in to help, making alternative arrangements for Wow to travel to their destination safely by car instead. This administrative shift, driven purely by a desire to keep a friend comfortable, ultimately saved Victor Wow's life while unfortunately sealing the tragic fate of Vignale, who boarded the helicopter in his place. The immense weight of this survival left Wow completely devastated, as he was left to process the reality that he was alive simply because of a sudden choice, while his closest friends were gone forever. He later took to social media to post an incredibly moving tribute in Portuguese dedicated to his best friend Lucas Froda, thanking him for being the greatest friend he could have ever asked God for, and promising to always remember his enchanting smile as he wished him peace on the other side. The profound impact of this multifaceted tragedy becomes even more apparent as we look at the wider circle of lives Oliver Tree touched throughout his highly unconventional and deeply influential journey. Grief has a way of uniting the past and the present, a reality made clear when Oliver's former girlfriend, the widely celebrated alternative pop singer Melanie Martinez, also broke her silence online to acknowledge his sudden passing. In a deeply vulnerable statement shared through her personal social media channels, she openly admitted to being an absolute emotional wreck after hearing the devastating news of the helicopter collision. She expressed how incredibly difficult it is for the human mind to fully comprehend how someone with whom you once shared such a highly specific, intimate, and formative period of your life can suddenly be gone from this world in the blink of an eye. Her poignant words resonated deeply with millions of fans who remembered the intense creative and personal bond the two artists had shared during their highly publicized relationship years prior. This public expression of sorrow highlighted a fundamental truth about Oliver Tree, which was that long after people moved on to different chapters of life, The profound impact of his vibrant personality and creative spirit remained permanently stitched into their hearts. To fully understand why this loss has caused such an immense global outpouring of grief, one must examine the extraordinary artistic legacy that Oliver Tree Nickell built from the ground up. Born and raised in Santa Cruz, California, Oliver was never an artist who fit neatly into any predefined box, constantly blurring the lines between alternative, rock, electronic dance music, hip-hop, and performance art. He first captured the internet's attention not just through his incredibly catchy melodies, but through a brilliant, hyper-exaggerated public persona characterized by his signature bowl haircut, oversized retro windbreakers, and an obsession with riding giant scooters. This unique blend of viral internet comedy and genuine musical genius allowed him to connect with a generation of listeners who felt like outsiders themselves, turning tracks like Life Goes On, Alien Boy, and Hurt into massive international anthems. Yet, behind the chaotic stunts, the viral TikTok videos, and the colorful, comedic aesthetics lay a deeply serious, tireless work ethic and an uncompromising dedication to visual storytelling. Oliver directed his own music videos, conceptualized his elaborate live stage performances, and fought fiercely to maintain complete creative control over his art, inspiring an entire generation of independent creators to stay entirely true to their unique visions. However, as the global community honors Oliver's memory, it is equally vital to remember that this tragedy is not defined by the loss of a single celebrity alone, but by the shattering of several brilliant creative journeys. The 5 other individuals who boarded those helicopters in Brazil each left behind their own profound legacies, deeply devastated families, and unfulfilled dreams that deserve to be remembered by the world. Producer Lucas Vinal was widely regarded within the industry as a masterful visual storyteller and a brilliant technical mind. A man whose unique camera work and directorial eye helped bring some of modern music's most eccentric visual concepts to life. His incredible generosity of spirit was mirrored in his final actions, having selflessly rearranged travel plans just days before to ensure his colleague Victor Wow could travel safely by car to avoid an intense fear of flying. Similarly, the passing of rising digital creator and YouTube star Gatsby left a massive void in the online community, where he was celebrated by hundreds of thousands of followers for his raw authenticity, boundary-pushing content, and infectious energy that brightened the lives of viewers across multiple continents. The loss of producer Lucas Froda has likewise sent deep ripples of sorrow through the international electronic and independent music scenes, where he was revered as a brilliant collaborator and an exceptionally loyal friend. Known for his enchanting smile that effortlessly brightened any room he walked into, Froda was a passionate creator who dedicated his life to helping fellow artists find their unique sonic voices, leaving behind a rich catalog of collaborative work that will be cherished forever. Alongside these visionary creatives were the 2 highly experienced pilots, Alexander Souza and Charles Marcillac, who lost their lives while performing their professional duties in the cockpit. These men were fathers, husbands, and respected members of the aviation community, individuals who possessed years of flight experience and were deeply loved by their local communities in Brazil. Recognizing the diverse lives cut short in this singular terrifying moment helps paint a complete picture of the immense human toll of the disaster, reminding the public that behind every headline lies a collection of real families facing an unimaginable, lifelong void, as international aviation authorities continue their highly detailed investigation into the exact technical and environmental causes of the mid-air helicopter collision. The global music community is left with the difficult task of moving forward without some of its brightest lights. The sudden absence of Oliver Tree leaves a massive, irreplaceable void in contemporary alternative culture, a space that cannot easily be filled by anyone else due to the uniquely singular nature of his art. For his girlfriend Fiona Chernavskaya, the journey ahead is one of navigating immense, quiet healing, supported by the knowledge that the profound love and magical memories they shared across 43 countries and 7 continents will endure forever. The beautiful tributes from superstar peers like Malone, the raw vulnerability of past partners like Melanie Martinez, and the overwhelming grief of millions of fans all point to a singular, undeniable reality. Oliver Tree lived his life with an unparalleled, ferocious intensity, packing more adventure, creativity, and genuine human connection into his 32 years than most could ever dream of achieving in a century. As his music continues to stream across millions of devices worldwide, his final message of resilience echoes louder